In this episode, I'll talk about different trade names and why they are confusing. One general topic that was often confusing for students was the different trade names and names used for the technologies. I now presented you the classification used by the industry that was standardized, but many companies show their innovation by also creating a new name for their process, and that is sometimes confusing because the name doesn't allow to really differentiate between other processes, and it doesn't always get to the core of the process nature. An example here I have for powder bed fusion processes. Powder bed fusion can be used for polymers and metals, and you see in the names that for polymers we often use sintering in the name, and for metals we use melting. So for example, we have laser sintering LS and selective laser sintering SLS for polymers, and we have laser melting, selective laser melting SLM, and direct metal laser sintering DMLS for metal. That's just a distinction that the manufacturers of the 3D printers make. In both cases, the process is based on melting and solidification and not on sintering. Sintering is a different class of additive manufacturing technologies. But the trade names are sometimes misleading. And then in the polymer group, there's a third process or name that we have to look at called multi-jet fusion, which is also selectively melting a powder or a bed of powder, but with a different heat source, so not a laser, but a lower energy thermal source. Multi-jet fusion is also a powder bed fusion process with polymers, but it's slightly different. So these terminologies that industry is using, especially the industry that is developing and inventing these technologies, is leading to misunderstandings and to problems sometimes. So I wanted to point that out, and I will point that out as we go through the video series where it's relevant. But I hope you get a sensitivity to that problem when you hear a trade name, that you can look at what's really the underlying process based on the 7 classes that we have.